So what if you could stop waiting and just start building, but like in parallel with an AI? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty fundamental shift in how software gets made. We're talking about moving away from that old one-step-at-a-time process to a totally dynamic workflow where you and an AI assistant are coding together at the exact same time. Let's jump right in.
All right, first things first, a question for all you developers listening. Seriously, how much of your day do you spend just waiting? You know what I mean? Waiting for that super long build to finish or for a test suite to run. Heck, even just waiting for your AI coding assistant to spit out a response. All that idle time, that constant mental gear shifting, it's a huge productivity killer, right?
And that right there, that's really the heart of the problem we're going to unpack today. You see, the old school, one thing after another way of coding, it just has these built-in stop signs. They completely force you to break your flow, take a pause, and just wait for a machine to catch up.
Okay, just look at this contrast for a second. Over on the left, that's the old way, right? You code a bit, you hit a wall, you wait, and then you try to get back into it. But look at the right. This is the parallel workflow. You delegate task A, and while the AI is chugging away on that, you immediately jump over to task B. That whole mandatory waiting period, it's just gone. So, this is where the solution comes in. It's this whole new approach to development called a parallel workflow. And really, it's all about changing how you think about your AI assistant. It's no longer just a tool you have to wait for, it becomes a genuine partner that you work right alongside.
But here's the thing, and this is super important. This is not just about a new tool or some fancy new feature. It's bigger than that. It's what the source material calls a shift of mindset. You actually have to get comfortable delegating huge chunks of work and, get really good at switching contexts, jumping between what you're focused on and what your AI partner is handling. So how is this even possible? Well, the key piece of tech that makes this all happen is something called a work tree. Now, the best way to think about it is like this. You're giving your AI assistant its very own, separate, completely isolated copy of the project to play in. It's like its own personal sandbox. It can go in there and build an entire feature from scratch while you're over here working on something totally different in your sandbox. And the best part? No conflicts. None at all.
Okay, so that's the theory. But what does this actually look like when you're, in the trenches, coding? Let's walk through a real-world example and see this multitasking in action.
All right, here's the setup. Our developer has two jobs on their plate. First, task A, which is a pretty big one, adding drag-and-drop reordering to a list. They're going to hand that whole thing off to their AI assistant. Now, at the exact same time, they're going to be working on task B, which is a much smaller tweak, just updating a UI button.
So here's how it plays out. Step 1. The developer delegates that big drag-and-drop feature to the AI, setting it up in its own worktree. Step 2. No waiting around. They immediately start coding the Create Branch button. Now, listen closely to Step 3, because this is where it gets really cool. While they're working, they run into a bug. And get this. They ask the AI a totally separate question about that bug, even while the AI is still cranking away on that first big feature. It's wild. Then finally, once the main task is done, the developer just switches back, reviews the AI's code, and merges it in.
And that's it. That's the core benefit right there in action. The developer is never blocked. They're not sitting around wondering what the AI is up to because it's all happening safely in a separate work tree. All that dead time that used to be filled with just waiting, it's now filled with actual productive, focused work.
I mean, think about how powerful that concept is. It's not just about handing off one big task and walking away. You can literally have a major feature being built by the AI in the background while you're using it at the same time for little things, like helping you debug a specific line of code that you're working on. It becomes a truly parallel partnership.
So, when you start working like this all the time, you realize it's way more than just a productivity hack. It really fundamentally changes your mindset as a software engineer. It completely redefines what your role is in the whole development process.
This quote from the source just nails it, really. It perfectly captures this shift in mindset. Your job evolves. Suddenly, you're spending way less time writing boilerplate code or fighting with individual lines. Instead, you're thinking about the big picture, the overall structure, how data flows, how all the different pieces are going to fit together. You basically become the architect, and the AI becomes your incredibly fast and reliable builder.
So let's just recap the core benefits here. When you put it all together, the value is just crystal clear. First, you're eliminating all that dead time waiting for the AI or for builds. Second, it really pushes you to focus on that higher-level software architecture. And third, it develops that super valuable skill of context switching. It's this perfect middle ground, right? It's way better than the slow grind of coding everything yourself, and it's definitely better than just waiting for a machine to finish its job. And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on, doesn't it? As these kinds of AI partnerships become more common and frankly more powerful, how is the entire field of software engineering going to change? I mean, when your main partner is an AI that can build whole features alongside you in parallel, what does the role of the human developer actually become? It's definitely something to think about.